Well, I don't know if I really actually made a proper video about my magnetite rings, but I was just going to, that's my helping hand holding a little syringe thing. I was just going to show you basically a short video because, well, most of it's pretty basic, but rather than letting you watch me do it step by step, it's probably easier if I just explain that for my particular magnetite rings, you know, the magnet holders, I'm actually using 11.1 grams of magnetite powder, which is iron oxide, and I'm actually using 13 grams of resin, as in fast glass, fiberglass isopon resin. So now the important thing I never really mentioned previously in a video was that it's important to mix the hardener. The hardener with the resin first, because if you don't do that, and if the hardener is bonded to the magnetite, then the resin tends to be inhibited and it won't harden, it won't set. So basically you mix the hardener and the resin first, and once that's been properly mixed, then you add the magnetite, then you mix the magnetite in, and then you pour that into the syringe or whatever it is you're using for the mold. That is all I needed to really make a short video on, because I mean, okay, I could video the whole process, but my earlier videos covered that anyway. I actually made some magnetite rings, so there's no point in me actually doing all of that again. But I just wanted to explain that it's fundamentally critical that you actually add the hardener to the resin before you mix the magnetite. I actually did that once and it didn't work. It was a disaster. So I don't want anyone else to make the same mistake. It was disastrous because it wouldn't set, and it was a mess. And I had to add quite a lot more hardener to it to get it to set. And yeah, it was just sticky and gooey. But this is a new mold I made. I've actually got 2 molds now for my magnetite rings. Let's get this lid off here. That's my other one. That's my older one. I made a second mold simply because it was taking so long to make one. Because when you actually cast the magnetite ring, it's best to leave it in there all overnight to harden properly. Because if you take it out prematurely, it's very sticky and gooey and it doesn't always harden properly. Probably due to the mixture of the magnetite. So I made 2 so that I can make 2 at the same time and save myself some time. So. If you wonder what this is, basically when you make a mold, it's sometimes a good idea to cover it with some waxy paper. Well, this is foam with a waxy backing on it, and I've tried all sorts of things, and plastics and things, and they tend to shrivel up with the resin. So this actually is probably best. It's basically you overfill it slightly. You know, you make sure that it's slightly bulgy and overfilled, and then you gently place this on top too. Without any weight. You don't apply any weight, but it needs to be dead flat, perfectly flat. And then you place that on to give it a nice smooth surface, so you don't have too much work and it's not too crummy looking. But even so, you don't have to do that. It's important not to disturb the flaps, because the flaps, remember, are actually the holes where the magnets go. And if you push one of the flaps to the outside or to the inside, you weaken the wall of the ring, and by doing that, then you put the ring in, your magnet in, and it will probably break out and break the outside rim. So it's important, because of the tolerance on my specific design, it's very critical that you don't actually put any weight on these flaps and move them out of the central position. Originally I actually trimmed around the edges of my flaps, and I thought, well, that's probably a bad idea, because these actually, the little bits that are sticking out on the top actually help to keep it centered. So I've decided not to do this with this one. I'm just going to leave it, because if you look at my previous one, you'll notice it's very clear cut all the way around. Okay, I can see the gaps clearly between the flaps and the outside wall. that's good. But the trouble is, if this is squished wrong, it can actually touch the wall, in which case you'll break out, you know. So I'm just going to leave that one and do another mould and see how that comes out. Thanks for watching.